what's the one piece of career advice you wish someone had given you when you were starting out?
I think for me, it would be for someone to tell me that change is okay. I think especially when you're a little bit early in your career and there are options and different opportunities and pivots, it's really scary and you don't want to make mistakes, or you don't want to try something new because you're scared you will fail. I think especially when you're young and at the start of your career where you don't have a mortgage, kids, or whatever it might be, or when you probably have a little bit less responsibility and a little bit less to lose, that is the time when you should try different things. And from my personal experience, I think about 12 years ago, I was moving from Staffordshire to Yorkshire. And at that point, I was an accountant, and my education was in accounting. And I thought that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. But that's not how it actually worked out, because I got rejected from some of the jobs that I applied in accounting, but got an opportunity in a software company, which is crazy.
Very relatable.
Absolutely. But thankfully, they did have accounting products, so there was some logic that tied me into that. And because of that, the rest of my career happened. And if I could still be an accountant, who knows? Which is a bit terrifying, because I don't think that that was really for me. But it is about not being scared of change and really pursuing it and trying different things, because you don't know where you're going to end up. I can't say all the changes are good. Some of them we can just call learning experiences.
Yeah. Or an experience.
Yeah. I have taken some jobs that I didn't particularly enjoy, but that helped me learn something about myself, about what I want to do, what I don't want to do, especially. And that helped me in the future, even though that path didn't necessarily lead me in the right direction.
And obviously going from being an accountant to where you are now, when it comes to, I don't know, this is going off track a little bit, but like with technology and software, did you have a good understanding of like technology previous to that, or did you kind of just pick that up by transitioning into the software company?
I think that was probably another thing that helps me, is I'm a little bit of a nerd. So when I was interviewing, while I couldn't answer questions about experience in software because I had none apart from using it, we talked about computer games and my use of technology and my love for technology and gadgets and things like that, which was quite important, especially for me changing my career. I needed something that had an interest. I appreciate for people who were employing me, that was also a positive, because they knew, while accounting wouldn't be my predominant part of my job, there are other things that will keep me there and interest me there. But it was still a learning curve, because just loving gadgets is a little bit different than building accounting software.
Yeah. Has been a pivotal moment in your career journey that's made a big significant impact?
Yeah. I mean, you're right to say that was probably one of the biggest things for me, for my career. But when I was reflecting on what has really made an impact, and it's more about personal or personality rather, and I do bring it up in a lot of conversations with people I work with, and especially people in my team, is an incident, we'll call this. Probably about 10 plus years ago, in 360 feedback that I received for myself, someone called me bubbly but intimidating. And it really shocked me at that time. And I think especially when you're a woman, the behavioral expectations might be a little bit different. You can't be bossy or intimidating or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I had to just pause, and it took me a few years actually to figure out what actually is important to me and who am I and who do I want to be at work. And I didn't want people to feel intimidated. I want to get stuff done, but I knew I can do it a different way. And I don't want to ever have people who are upset or who not enjoying their job because of me or because of who I am. They can be upset about tasks, that's life. But I don't want my behavior to reflect on them directly. And as I say, it took me a few years to kind of settle in that more kind and a caring way, because inside, that's always who I was, I believe. But outside, that wasn't necessarily who I was. But I think it also helped me to build the teams, as a manager or as a head of, that's often been part of my job, and to nurture the talent within my teams or in wider company. I don't think I would be able to do that if people were scared of me necessarily. It sounds quite dramatic, but that's how it is sometimes.
Yeah, I think people do see that a lot, especially with females, when a lot of us, I can speak for myself, when you have a big personality, it can come across, as you say, as strong and intimidating. When you're not trying to be intimidating, you almost think, well, that's just me and I am a strong female. But sometimes it's how people receive it and trying to adapt and change to, like you say, to be more approachable, to just be seen as not necessarily a go-to person, but people can actually come to you and ask questions rather than having that the fear element.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I try to promote it around me as well, because any problem or any job can be done without creating that tension or that fear. So it's not necessarily. And while I want to bring myself to work, and I'm a big fan of you are who you are. There's obviously some limits, some guardrails in the professional workplace, but choose the better part of yourself to bring to work.
How do you approach challenges and setbacks in your professional life, and what's your go-to strategy for overcoming them?
I'm going to be a broken record. But a lot of things that I apply in my life come from my profession, and it's really silly, but product taught me a lot. And part of this is also handling those challenges. For me, the first thing I probably learned is not to panic, because in a digital product environment, things happen and go wrong pretty much every day. If you start panicking or stressing about it, you will not get to the outcome that you want to get to. It's about looking at the problem that you need to resolve and analysing it and understanding the root cause. And again, going back, no finger pointing, that's not why we're here. And kind of retrospectively looking at why things happened or how could they have happened. And then trying to find solutions. I think there's a lot of bias in people naturally, is that once we found one solution, that is it, that's what we're trying to do. But that's not necessarily how things really work in life. Sometimes you need to understand, do I have time to go with the best solution? Or, do we need to panic a little bit? And things need to happen today. Therefore, I need to look at alternatives that will fit in my timescale, budget, whatever problem it might be solving. I think as all of that craziness might be happening and we analyzing or finding solution, it's so important to communicate with people, whether it's people who you are solving that problem with, or with your customers, with your stakeholders, with your senior management. It's about being open and honest to a certain degree, because obviously you need to apply different levels of information to different people. But it's about frequent updates. It's about, again, explaining what you've learned and sharing that information with people. And at the end of all of it, it's about learning and applying those learnings in the future. And what I'm talking about is literally what product managers do, but that's the nature of the job, and it's the nature of problems, a nature of types of people we need to work with. There is constant noise, so learning to tune the noise out a little bit, relax a little bit to a point, and try to go through the motions at the pace that you need to go through is incredibly helpful. I think it's all kind of about personality for me. I think another thing I had to learn to help myself work through some crises at work is not everything is personal, and people may be upset, people might be stressed and worried. There might be something happening, there might be a problem, at work, might be a problem in their personal life. I think early in my career especially, everything was personal. I've done something wrong, I have upset them, they don't like me, they think I don't know my stuff. Sometimes it's true, but for most of the time, it's not you. It's work, it's their personal stuff, and it's trying to figure out how you can help them work through their emotions as well. That's where it doesn't necessarily help to be too intimidating, because people will not open up.
Yeah, it is difficult though, isn't it? Like you say, when you first start your career journey, whatever career you're in, you always take things personally, and it's, did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? Do they not like me as a person? And I think the more you then become not necessarily established, but the more you know how to actually communicate with people, you become much better at, as you say, not brushing things off, but just understanding a situation as it is, that it's not always personal, it's not always an attack on you.
Sometimes people tell me it is about me, so that's
They're the best ones.
Yeah.